Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a good day today. You remember the last video I was fiddling around with the bike and we had a look at the air cleaner and the fuel sender. We also looked at the fuel pump and the original rubbers, the original pipes were all split. They're all coming out of here and they're the wrong size and they're all split. So this is what I've ended up with. I've got this, if you remember on the last video, it had like two ears sticking out on here. Okay, now what I've done is, as you can see, what I've done is I've just twisted them off for now. What I'll do is I'll get the angle grinder on them and just clean them up a bit so they're a bit smoother. So we've got to try and make the best of what we've got. The original pump, the outlets come out of here, okay, and they come out at right angles. And then you have this bit of rubber here, and this bit fits on the frame. So this is at the back of the bike, and that's the front of the bike, and the carburetors are about here. Okay, that bolts into the frame. You remember yesterday the whole thing was loose, it's just wobbling around, and these outlets are on this side. Okay, so this bolts to the frame. And then what you do from that, what we're going to do is we're going to fit this rubber around here, okay, and then this is for the fuel filter, but the fuel filter I got is this thing, and it's a bit on the big side, which isn't a big problem. Okay, so on the original design, right, you would have this bolted to the frame, right, the fuel pump in place in this orientation that way, and you'd have the fuel filter here. Okay, and you'd have a nice little pipe that comes, not, you know, like this fuel pipe you can get that's made for the bike. It's got like a bend in it when they make the pipe. You know, so it's got a really nice little bit of pipe that goes to the filter, and then from here a pipe that goes to the tank, all the right shape and everything. But that isn't the case in what we're doing now. Now, I did have this intention of making up this little plumbing circuit. So we had used some right angle brass fittings, but I've changed my mind on that because I think it will look shite. It would just look too over the top. So what I'm going to do is, because obviously on the pump you've got an arrow going out, obviously that's going to the carburetors, and an arrow coming in, which is coming from the filter. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a bit of pipe that comes from that'll be mounted onto there. The actual fuel tap is about here. So a bit of pipe comes from the fuel tap. It goes to the filter, okay, and then that bit of pipe will bend round to the inlet. All right, we've got plenty of room under the bonnet, so to speak, under the tank. And then another bit of pipe will come from the outlet straight to the carburetors. So it's all going to be nice and sweeping. What you don't want this with this stuff, as you know, it's naturally where it's been wound up, it's in a slight curve. All right, you don't want to obviously overbend it because it'll shut the flow off to start with, and also it puts a bit of stress on the pipe, and that's the sort of place where you're going to get a crack in the future. And we don't want any of that, do we? So a nice sweeping bends, you know, so that's a nice from the tank to the filter, and then a nice bit of a bend to the pump, so it's all sort of flowing nicely, you know, and then obviously from the from the pump up to the carbs. That's right, yeah, straight up to the carburetors. So it should all sit quite nicely. Right, folks, so I took this outside and I ground off the that flange that was there, you know, the bit that was left, and here as well. You know, made it all smooth. I did have a concern that when this was mounted on the bike, because that's where the frame goes, that this might hit the frame. But you can see where the frame comes through. There's a bit of a space, look there, between the flange and that. So we haven't got any worries with that. No concerns about that. I was going to cut this off because we don't need it, but yeah, it's not hurting being there because the pipes are going to come sort of around it. and it might give a bit of support to something, I don't know. We'll leave it on for now, that'll be alright. I found a screw, so that's going to go through there. That's going to clamp the rubber down in place. Yeah, okay, well let's go and fit it on the bike and see how it looks. Yeah, sorry about that folks, I couldn't get you in camera shot, and I couldn't get my big fat hands in there at the same time. Alright, so you can see the pipe coming off here. I've used one of these clips that you can easily remove, you know, you squeeze together. Down to the fuel filter. From the fuel filter, you can see it goes down to the pump. Can you see that down there? And then from there it goes up to the carb. So it's all quite nice as flow, quite a nice sweeping flow now. That's mounted on the chassis, so it's you can't really see that cable's in the way, can you? Mounted on the chassis, so that's nice and firm with a little bit of give, which is good. The little bit of rubber that I said I was going to cut off, I'm glad I didn't, because it actually sits on the top of the engine block. Alright, so I've got this little connector here to fit in one-handed YouTube operation. Let me get that down here. They just about fit, I'll tell you. I'll have to give it a wiggle with the pliers. Oi. Let's give it a bit of a start. Come on then. Come on. Without digging into the rubber. I think it's actually there, yeah, the end of it. It's in two sizes. So I can bring it back a bit really, just here. Give this a clamp. Oi. And we have liftoff. Alright, so that's all in place. And it's not going to bang against anything. It's all quite nicely cushioned. There's nothing sharp that's going to dig into it. Alright folks, so let's shut the boot, the bonnet as such, and we'll see if it all misses okay. Let's bring you down a bit. And over across here a bit. I won't get any prizes, would I, for my camera work? Oh, you're wobbly now. There we go. Okay, so she's all fueled up. So let's see if let's fire it up and we'll see if we've got any leaks on the way. On the go. Quick wog. Okay. All looking good. Ah, brilliant. Yeah, very good. No leaks. Everything seems quite flowing, you know. Everything seems to be quite happy. Good stuff. Okay, well, I'll see you in the next video. Maybe we'll get on, well, I don't know what we'll do next, but hope to see you next time. Okay, cheers folks. Bye.